Faith requires participation because faith was never meant to be a silent belief tucked away in your heart. It was meant to be a movement, a response, partnership between you and the God who called you. Many people say they want breakthrough, but breakthrough rarely comes to those who remain passive. Faith grows when you engage it, stretch it, activate it. It's not a spectator sport. It's an invitation to step into what you believe even when you cannot see the full picture. You can pray for change all day. If you are unwilling to do the part that belongs to you, the prayer will stay in the atmosphere instead of manifesting in your life. Participation means showing up even when you feel unqualified, unprepared, or unsure. It means taking small steps with shaky hands and trembling courage because you trust that God will meet you somewhere in the middle. Sometimes we want God to do everything while we do nothing, but that is not how faith works. God moves when you move. Faith is activated when your feet begin to walk in the direction of what your heart has been asking for. You don't have to know how it will turn out. You just have to be willing to take the first step. Many people remain stuck not because God isn't opening doors, but because they are afraid to walk through them. Faith requires you to participate with the opportunities God sends your way. You cannot just want a new season. You must step into it. You cannot ask for healing but avoid confronting the parts of you that keep bleeding. You cannot desire growth and cling to comfort at the same time. Participation demands discomfort, stretching, and a willingness to leave behind the version of you that cannot carry the future God is preparing. Participate in your faith. You give God something to breathe on, bless, multiply, and strengthen. A seed only grows when it is planted, not when it is admired. Dream only becomes reality when you invest time, effort, and obedience into it. When you put your faith into motion, even in small ways, heaven responds. God honors the person who refuses to stay stagnant. God strengthens the one who dares to step forward even when life feels uncertain. Participation also means trusting God when you don't have control. It means putting your hands on the assignment, not just your hopes on the outcome. Faith is often built in the doing, not the dreaming. Every action you take, every prayer you pray, every step toward healing, every decision to try again becomes evidence that you are not just wishing for change, you are preparing for it. You cannot expect God to bring breakthrough in areas you are not willing to engage. If you want to overcome fear, you must confront the places fear has gripped you. If you want purpose, you must step into environments that require responsibility. If you want transformation, you must surrender old habits and embrace new discipline. Faith is alive, moving, breathing, and it requires you to move with it. When you participate with God, you position yourself for the miracle you've been praying for. Transformation demands courage because nothing worth having comes without risk, discomfort, and a willingness to face the unknown. Many people desire change. They want it to come easily, quietly, and without effort. True transformation does not happen while you are sitting safely in your comfort zone. It happens when you are willing to confront your fears, step into uncertainty, and trust that what lies ahead is greater than what you are leaving behind. Courage is the bridge between where you are and where God is calling you to be. And without it, your faith will remain stagnant and your dreams unfulfilled. It is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act in spite of fear. Transformation often requires stepping into situations that make your heart race and your palms sweat. It requires facing past failures, old wounds, voices that have told you that you are not enough. It demands that you move forward even when you feel weak, unqualified, or inadequate. It is in those moments when you step despite fear that God's power meets your vulnerability and begins to reshape your life. Each courageous step you take is a declaration that you are ready for the next level, that you are willing to be stretched, and that you trust God's plan over your comfort. Often, transformation asks you to let go of what is familiar in order to embrace what is unfamiliar. Asks you to release old habits, toxic relationships, and limiting beliefs. Letting go is never easy. It requires courage because it demands vulnerability. Challenges your pride, your ego, and your sense of security. Yet, the very thing that seems risky is often the thing that God uses to elevate you. Transformation is a process that reshapes not only your circumstances, but also your character. It stretches your faith, strengthens your resilience, deepens your trust in God. Without courage, you remain in the same place, frustrated by desire, but paralyzed by fear. Courage also requires action. It is not enough to hope, pray, or wish for change. Transformation happens when you take deliberate steps toward growth, even if those steps feel small or imperfect. Courage is found in showing up when it is easier to hide, in speaking up when silence feels safe, and in choosing faith when doubt feels stronger. Each act of bravery, no matter how small, chips away at fear and builds momentum for the life God is calling you to live. Finally, courage allows you to embrace the unknown with confidence. Transformation is often a journey without a clear map, and it requires trust that every step is guided by a higher purpose. When you choose courage, you align yourself with the process of growth, understanding that discomfort is temporary, but the results of faithful action last a lifetime. Transformation demands courage because it calls for risk, faith, and resilience. Those who are willing to step boldly into it are the ones who discover the fullness of their purpose. Desires must match actions because wanting something without doing the work to achieve it is like planting seeds in the ground and refusing to water them. Many people pray for change, dream of success, or long for transformation, but they are unwilling to put in the effort, take the necessary step, the sacrifices required to see their desires become reality. Desire without action is empty. It creates frustration, disappointment, a cycle of unmet expectations. If you truly want something, your life must reflect it, not just your words or thoughts. You say you want should be evident in the choices you make, the time you invest, and the energy you devote toward achieving it. Desires and actions are aligned, momentum builds, and God is able to work through your efforts. Faith is not passive, and neither is desire. It is active, engaged. To desire without action is to expect results without responsibility. You cannot wish for growth and remain stagnant. You cannot long for healing and refuse to do the inner work required. You cannot hope for opportunity and avoid preparation. Life requires participation, demands that what you say you want is mirrored by what you are willing to do, even when it is difficult, uncomfortable, or inconvenient. Matching actions to desires also requires accountability and discipline. It means examining your habits, routines, daily decisions to ensure that they support your goals rather than sabotage them. Many people claim to want abundance, purpose, or breakthrough. Their actions tell a different story. Staying in toxic environments, procrastinating, ignoring opportunities, settling for comfort over growth will never produce the results you desire. Your actions are the proof of your commitment, the evidence of your faith, vehicle through which God can move on your behalf. Taking action in alignment with desire also requires perseverance. Sometimes the steps toward your goals are small and progress feels slow. Sometimes doors appear closed and circumstances seem stacked against you, but consistent, intentional effort, even when it seems invisible or insignificant, is what turns desire into reality. The universe and God respond to those who refuse to remain passive. It is the repeated actions, the daily decisions, the intentional moves toward your goals that signal readiness for breakthrough. When desires and actions align, clarity emerges. You begin to understand what is truly important, what is worth pursuing, and where your efforts should be concentrated. Misalignment creates confusion, wasted energy, sense of frustration. Alignment, on the other hand, produces focus, confidence, and results. It allows you to see the connection between your faith, your effort, outcomes you are seeking. Ultimately, desire without action is a dream deferred, while desire with action is transformation in progress. The life you want requires more than wishing. It requires doing. It requires showing up, taking steps, refusing to settle for less than what your heart has been calling for. When you match your actions to your desires, you open the door for growth, blessings, breakthroughs that are not only possible, but inevitable. Your actions validate your dreams and invite God to work in extraordinary ways in your life. Process, because nothing meaningful in life happens instantly or without effort. Many people desire a sense of direction, a calling, or a fulfilled life, but they want it handed to them without enduring the journey it takes to develop character, strength, and wisdom. Purpose is not revealed in a moment of convenience. It is uncovered through seasons of preparation, trials, and persistence. Every challenge, every setback, and every lesson is part of the refining process designed to shape you into the person capable of walking into the destiny that awaits you. Without embracing the process, you will never fully understand or appreciate the purpose that God has planned for your life. Process often requires patience and perseverance. Growth does not happen overnight, and maturity is rarely instantaneous. People want results before they are ready to handle them, but purpose demands a journey that strengthens your faith, tests your resolve, and expands your capacity. You must learn to endure waiting, to embrace discomfort, and to stay committed even when progress seems invisible. Each step, even the ones that feel insignificant or difficult, contributes to your readiness. The process is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the training ground where your skills, character, and faith are tested and refined so that when your purpose arrives, you are equipped to handle it with grace and strength. Purpose through process also teaches resilience. Life will not always go according to your plans, and obstacles are inevitable. Face challenges, delays, or disappointments. You are being trained to adapt, to rise above, and to remain steadfast. The process develops endurance, determination, and a mindset that is essential for fulfilling your calling. Without this, even when opportunities come, you may falter because you are not prepared to navigate the complexities, responsibilities, or pressures that accompany your purpose. The journey itself molds you into someone capable of thriving, not just surviving. Another aspect of the process is self-discovery. Through trials, reflection, effort, you learn who you are, what you value, and what you are truly capable of achieving. Purpose is not only about what you do, but also about who you become. The process reveals strengths you did not know you had, uncovers passions that align with your calling, and exposes weaknesses that need attention. Each stage, each challenge, each small victory teaches you something vital about yourself and your path. Finally, understanding that purpose comes through process allows you to trust the timing of your life. You realize that rushing or forcing outcomes often leads to frustration or missed lessons. Instead, by embracing the process, you gain clarity, confidence, readiness. You begin to see that every delay, every setback, and every difficult season is part of a divine design shaping you for greater things. Purpose is not a destination you arrive at effortlessly. It is a journey you engage in faithfully, learning, growing, preparing for the impact you were created to make. The process is what transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. And in that transformation, purpose is revealed. Bless his effort, not excuses, because action demonstrates faith, commitment, and readiness. Many people spend more time explaining why something hasn't happened than actually doing what they can to make it happen. They pray for change, hope for miracles, for circumstances to align perfectly. But God's favor responds to motion, not hesitation. Excuses may sound reasonable and delays may feel justified. They do not produce results. Effort, on the other hand, signals to God and to the universe that you are serious about your calling, your dreams, life you are meant to live. Effort is the physical manifestation of faith. Prayers, dreams, and desires are important, but without action, they remain invisible and ineffective. God honors the person who steps forward even when the path is unclear. When you put in the work, even imperfectly, you are saying, I am willing to do my part, Lord. I trust you to do yours. Effort is a demonstration that you are ready to participate in your breakthrough, than waiting for it passively to fall into your lap. Excuses, by contrast, keep you in a cycle of stagnation and frustration. No matter how sincere your intentions may be, making effort requires persistence, discipline, and courage. Life is filled with obstacles, distractions, setbacks that tempt you to give up or rationalize inaction. But God blesses those who persist, those who refuse to let fear, doubt, or comfort dictate their choices. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a building block for future success. It is the repeated acts of diligence, obedience, hard work that align you with opportunity and divine favor. Effort is not always glamorous, and it may not bring instant results. It lays the foundation for long-term growth and breakthrough. Excuses often mask fear, laziness, or a lack of trust. They may sound reasonable. I'm not ready. The timing isn't right. I don't have enough resources. But behind these words lies hesitation to fully step into what God has called you to do. You choose action over excuses. You are rejecting fear and embracing responsibility. You are demonstrating that your faith is active and your commitment is genuine. God's blessings follow those who act, because effort is an invitation for God to move in extraordinary ways. It is the willingness to work, to learn, to stretch, to push beyond comfort that creates space for divine favor to flow. Effort also teaches humility and dependence on God. While you take steps, you recognize that results are not solely your doing. They are a partnership between your work and God's provision. This balance strengthens character and builds resilience, preparing you to handle blessings wisely when they arrive. Excuses, on the other hand, foster entitlement and stagnation. They keep you waiting for conditions to be perfect, when in reality, transformation often requires imperfect action. persistent effort, and unwavering faith. Ultimately, God blesses the hands that move, the feet that step forward, and the hearts that refuse to settle for excuses. Aligns you with opportunity, demonstrates your seriousness, and invites God to work through your diligence. Waiting passively, justifying inaction, relying on excuses will never produce the fullness of life you desire. Blessing comes to those who do, not those who delay, to those who act, not those who explain, to those who step boldly into responsibility, not those who remain in hesitation. Effort is the key that unlocks favor, and excuses are the locks that keep it out. Fear weakens when you move forward because fear only has power when you give it space to control your decisions. Many people let fear dictate their lives, allowing it to determine their actions, delay their progress, and limit their potential. Fear whispers lies about inadequacy, impossibility, and failure, convincing you that staying in the comfort zone is safer than stepping into the unknown. But fear is not stronger than purpose. Cannot stop you when you choose to act despite it. Movement, taking deliberate, intentional steps toward your goals, is the antidote to fear. Every time you move, no matter how small the step, fear loses ground and confidence begins to grow. When you take action in spite of fear, you demonstrate faith in yourself and in the process. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means refusing to let fear dictate your choices. Many people wait for fear to disappear before they move, but fear rarely leaves without action. Waiting for the perfect moment, for absolute certainty, for total security often leads to stagnation and missed opportunities. Moving forward, even when you feel afraid, creates momentum. Momentum is what breaks through the paralysis that fear creates. Each step you take, each decision you make in defiance of fear, chips away at its power and strengthens your resolve. Fear also weakens because movement builds confidence and experience. When you act, you learn, adapt, grow stronger. Challenges become lessons, obstacles become opportunities, and hesitation transforms into boldness. Each time you face fear head on, you expand your capacity to handle uncertainty, disappointment, and adversity. Fear thrives in ignorance and inaction, but it diminishes as knowledge, preparation, increase. By moving forward, you prove to yourself that fear is not an insurmountable wall, but a temporary barrier that can be overcome with persistent effort and faith. Another reason fear weakens when you move forward is that action aligns you with opportunity. The enemy may try to keep you trapped in doubt, worry, or indecision, but opportunities do not wait for perfect conditions. They respond to those who are willing to step into them. Fear paralyzes, but movement invites blessing. You act, you position yourself to receive guidance, resources, and support that were inaccessible while you stood still. Fear loses power because it cannot stop God's timing or prevent favor from flowing to the one who shows up ready and willing. Finally, moving forward in fear builds resilience. Life is full of uncertainty, risk, and challenges, and fear is a natural response to the unknown. But the more you move, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable, strong, and equipped to handle whatever comes. Each step forward reinforces the truth that fear is temporary. Courage, action, and perseverance are lasting. When you refuse to let fear control your path, you reclaim your power, your confidence, ability to pursue purpose. Fear weakens when you move because motion activates faith, reveals strength, and opens doors that hesitation keeps closed. The choice to act transforms fear from an obstacle into a teacher, guiding you toward growth, opportunity, and victory. Imperfect faith still works because too often people wait to believe fully, pray perfectly, or act flawlessly before taking a step toward their destiny. That faith must be complete without doubt or hesitation for it to be effective. But the truth is, faith is not measured by perfection. It is measured by action, trust, and willingness to move even when conditions are uncertain. God honors the heart that reaches out even if it trembles, the hands that try even if they falter. Imperfect faith activates divine favor because it shows readiness, dependence, and courage, proving that you are willing to participate in the process of breakthrough. Perfect faith is powerful because it acknowledges human limitation while still choosing to trust. You do not have to have all the answers, complete understanding, flawless execution to see results. The moment you step forward, even with uncertainty or doubt, you are declaring that your desire to trust God is stronger than your fear of failure. This type of faith is active and dynamic. It doesn't wait for conditions to be perfect. It moves in spite of imperfection, knowing that God's strength completes human weakness. Many people hold back thinking that their uncertainty disqualifies them. But imperfect faith is exactly what God often uses to reveal his power. Taking action with imperfect faith also teaches humility and reliance on God. When you cannot control outcomes, plan perfectly, or execute flawlessly, you are forced to depend on something greater than yourself. This dependence is what strengthens your spirit and deepens your relationship with God. Imperfect faith demonstrates that you are not relying solely on your abilities, resources, or understanding, but on divine wisdom and provision. In these moments of vulnerability and imperfection that growth, transformation, and breakthroughs occur. Imperfect faith also inspires perseverance. It encourages you to keep moving forward even when obstacles arise, mistakes happen, or setbacks occur. You do not have to have it all figured out. You will make missteps along the way, but persistence in faith is what creates progress. Each step, no matter how small or uncertain, accumulates momentum. It signals that you are serious about your purpose and committed to the journey. Waiting for perfect faith often results in stagnation. Imperfect faith propels you into action and positions you for unexpected blessings. Furthermore, imperfect faith allows for learning and adaptability. Faith is imperfect. You are willing to try, adjust, and grow through experience. You learn what works, what doesn't, and how to navigate challenges with resilience. God can multiply effort, refine character, and direct outcomes through the willingness to act. Even when faith feels incomplete, imperfect faith becomes a conduit for miracles because it demonstrates obedience, courage, and trust beyond comfort and certainty. Emily, imperfect faith is not a weakness, it is a doorway. It shows God that you are ready to participate in his plan, even without perfect understanding. Moves mountains, opens doors, and creates opportunities because it is genuine, active, and humble. When you act with imperfect faith, you are declaring that your heart, effort, and trust are stronger than your doubt. This is the faith that works, the faith that produces results, faith that transforms lives. God honors the imperfect believer who steps forward, proving that you do not have to be flawless to see his victory power belongs to the one who shows up, because life does not reward wishful thinking, idle dreaming, or passive waiting. Many people want success, breakthroughs, blessings, but they hesitate when it comes to taking action. They hope for change, pray for results, and talk about their dreams. Yet they fail to show up in the places, moments, and opportunities where their faith can be activated. Victory is not given to those who watch from the sidelines. It is earned by those who step forward, engage with the process, and refuse to quit, even when circumstances are difficult or uncertain. To show up is to declare commitment, to demonstrate courage, and to place yourself in alignment with what God is doing on your behalf. Requires consistency and persistence. It is not enough to act once and then wait for results. True victory comes to those who are willing to be present day after day, making intentional decisions and showing up even when the task feels impossible. Will test your endurance, patience, and resilience, but the person who continues to show up despite fear, doubt, or fatigue positions themselves to experience breakthroughs that others miss. Showing up consistently creates momentum, builds character, signals that you are serious about your goals. It is in those moments of steadfastness that the seeds of victory are planted, watered, and nurtured. Another essential aspect of showing up is courage. To truly engage in life, you must step into the uncomfortable, face challenges head on, and risk failure. Fear will try to convince you that staying in your comfort zone is safer, but those who refuse to let fear dictate their actions are the ones who walk into victory. Courageous action demonstrates faith in the unseen and trust in the process. Each time you show up in spite of uncertainty, you strengthen your resolve, expand your capacity, and open yourself to opportunities that were previously inaccessible. Showing up also requires preparation. Victory favors the ready. Readiness comes from preparation, learning, and commitment. Those who show up ready to engage with life's challenges are able to seize opportunities when they arise. Preparation may involve personal growth, skill development, mental and spiritual strengthening, but every effort invested prepares you for the moment when breakthrough and success become possible. Excuses, hesitation, delay, on the other hand, only distance you from the rewards that action can bring. Finally, showing up cultivates faith and resilience. When you choose to be present, to act, and to engage with life's challenges, you demonstrate that you trust in your purpose, your efforts, and God's timing. This trust allows you to persevere through setbacks, disappointments, and obstacles without losing momentum. Victory belongs to those who do not give up. continue to show up even when it is hard, and who understand that every step forward, no matter how small, is a step closer to the fulfillment of their dreams. The act of showing up transforms potential into reality, dreams into accomplishments, and faith into tangible results, proving that success is reserved for those who refuse to remain on the sidelines and instead engage fully with the life and purpose set before them.